The air was electric, the anticipation palpable, and the energy within the arena felt as though it might crackle and spark at any moment as WWE Backlash unfolded before the eyes of millions around the globe. Fans from every corner of the world were glued to their screens or packed tightly into their seats, each heartbeat synchronized with the rhythm of battle echoing through the stadium. This wasn't just another stop on WWE's relentless touring calendar. This was a culmination, a collision, a confrontation that had been brewing for years. As the marquee event reached its crescendo, all attention was riveted on one defining clash, the main event between two of the most enduring and decorated figures in the history of the sport, John Cena and Randy Orton. These two titans, with over a decade of history, personal animosity, and mutual respect clouded by grudges and pride, stood on the precipice of yet another chapter in their storied rivalry. And when they stepped into the ring to fight for the undisputed WWE Championship, the stakes had never felt higher. Every second leading up to that moment had been built with the precision of a master craftsman. Promos laced with veiled insults, backstage confrontations that walked the line between professional and personal, fan speculation that dominated social media, and interviews that hinted at just how deep the tension ran between these two men had only served to raise expectations to nearly impossible heights. And yet, somehow, when the bell finally rang, the match didn't just meet those expectations. It exceeded them. From the opening lockup, it was obvious this wasn't going to be a standard wrestling contest. This was a war disguised as a match, an emotionally charged brawl where pride and legacy meant just as much as the championship itself. Both men unleashed their fury with unrelenting intensity, unleashing years of frustration, rivalry, and personal pride through every punch, slam, and counter. Cena, as always, entered with his signature confidence. His mantra of never give up painted across his expression as clearly as it was across his merchandise. He moved with the precision of a man who had been here countless times before, who had held gold more times than any other modern wrestler and who had become synonymous with resilience and heart. But even that confidence seemed tinged with something else. Something darker, something desperate. Maybe it was the age creeping into his body, or the realization that he was facing a younger, hungrier, more dangerous version of himself in Orton. Whatever it was clear he knew what was at stake. Orton, in contrast, was a vision of methodical rage. The Viper, coiled and ready to strike, brought a cold, calculating aura with him to the ring that night. He didn't posture or play to the crowd. His eyes were locked on Cena from the moment he stepped through the curtain. Each movement was deliberate, like a predator stalking his prey, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Orton had come not just to win a championship, but to make a statement, to prove once and for all that he was superior, that he wasn't just a foil in Cena's story, but the true alpha of WWS. The match unfolded. What followed was nothing short of a masterclass in storytelling through physical combat. Every move felt like it had purpose. Every reversal told a story. The crowd was split evenly down the middle. Half cheered for Cena with every shoulder tackle, every five-knuckle shuffle. The other half roared with approval every time Orton unleashed his signature DDTs off the ropes, every time he signaled for the RKO. It was as if the ring had become a battleground for more than just two men. It was now the epicenter of a global debate about legacy, honor, and who truly deserved to stand atop the mountain of WWE. Momentum swung like a pendulum. Orton seemed to take control early, using his tactical prowess and knowledge of Cena's moveset to counter and counter again. He looked sharper than he had in months, perhaps years. He delivered punishing strikes, showing no mercy, no hesitation. At one point, he locked Cena into a brutal chinlock that slowed the pace and drained the life from his opponent. But Cena, true to form, refused to give in. Drawing strength from the crowd, even those who booed him, he fought back with explosive bursts of offense that shifted the match back in his favor. It went on like this for what felt like forever. The back and forth was relentless. Signature moves were traded like punches in a prize fight. Cena hit an attitude adjustment only for Orton to kick out at 2. Orton nailed an RKO, but Cena managed to get his foot on the ropes. The audience was in a frenzy. Their emotions whipped into a storm of cheers, gasps, and chants. And then, just when it seemed Orton was finally about to put the match away, just when he had Cena perfectly set up, vulnerable, in position for the final, definitive RKO. It happened. The moment now etched in controversy, dissected frame by fans and analysts alike. Cena, in what can only be described as a split-second decision, struck low. A move that is unequivocally illegal. A low blow. The referee, obscured by their positioning and the chaos of the moment, didn't see it. Orton collapsed in pain, clutching himself, stunned and temporarily incapacitated. The crowd erupted in confusion and fury. Half of them screamed in outrage. The other half tried to rationalize what they'd just seen. But there was no time to linger. Cena, ever the opportunist, wasted no time. He picked up Orton, who was still clearly reeling, and delivered a devastating attitude adjustment with flawless precision. He covered him. The referee, unaware of the foul that had just occurred, counted 1, 2, 3. The bell rang. Cena's music hit. The announcer declared him the victor, the undisputed WWE champion. But there was no pure celebration, no moment of triumph untainted. The atmosphere had changed. The cheers were quieter, more reserved. The boos louder, more impassioned. Cena stood in the ring, championship hoisted above his head. But his expression seemed less jubilant and more conflicted. Or perhaps it was just fatigue. Or perhaps he knew. Backstage, however, the reaction was anything but subdued. Orton was irate, seething. He stormed through the backstage area like a man possessed, knocking over equipment crates, shoving aside officials, yelling expletives that had to be bleeped out on replays. When he finally got in front of a camera, his face red, chest heaving, voice trembling with barely contained rage, he made his position crystal clear. He had been robbed, cheated, humiliated. In his eyes, this wasn't a defeat. It was a theft. Cena, he claimed, had done what he had never done before, stooped to a level beneath even the dirtiest players in the game. Orton didn't hold back. He called it cowardice, deceit, a disgrace. He said Cena didn't win. He stole. And he vowed, in no uncertain terms, that this wasn't over. In Orton's mind, he had the match won. The momentum was his. The crowd was beginning to turn. Cena was exhausted, off balance. Orton was prepared to hit the final blow. And then it all slipped away, not because Cena was better, but because Cena cheated. To Orton, this wasn't just about the title anymore. It was about pride, about reputation, about legacy. He called for justice. He demanded a rematch, but more than that, he demanded accountability. He promised retribution, not in the form of a simple match, but in the form of a reckoning. Something deeper, darker. He was going to make Cena pay. And this is where the true intrigue begins. Because what happened in that ring wasn't just the end of a match. It was the beginning of something else. Something far more personal and intense. The WWE Universe is now ablaze with debate and speculation. Was it truly a low blow? Was it intentional or an accident in the heat of battle? Did Cena knowingly cheat? Or was he reacting on instinct? A desperate move in a desperate moment? The questions are endless. The answers murky. What is clear, however, is that the fallout is immense. Cena, for his part, has remained relatively quiet. He's made no public statements, issued no formal response to Orton's accusations. Perhaps he's waiting for the right moment. Perhaps he's still grappling with his own actions. Or perhaps he simply doesn't care. Perhaps, to him, victory is victory regardless of the method. But Orton isn't waiting. He's already begun waging war through words, through threats, through brutal honesty. And with every interview, every backstage segment, every match that follows, the fire grows hotter. This rivalry was never simple. It was never just about championships. It was always about dominance, about proving who the better man is, who deserves the top spot in the pantheon of WWE greats. And now, with this latest chapter, it's become more personal than ever before. Orton feels betrayed not just by Cena, but by the system that allowed it to happen. By the referee who missed the foul. By the officials who validated the win. By the fans who cheered in the face of injustice. And he's out for more than just a belt. He's out to tear everything down. To expose Cena. To end him. Meanwhile, Cena finds himself in unfamiliar territory. Accusations flying, reputation in question, legacy under threat. He has always been the hero, the face of WWE, the standard-bearer. But now a shadow looms. Fans are divided. Some defend him fiercely, claiming it was an accident, a necessary evil in the face of overwhelming odds. Others have turned, booing louder than ever, declaring that the true John Cena, the one behind the slogans and smiles, has finally shown his true colors. The stage is now set for a confrontation unlike any we've seen between these two before. Not just a match, a war, a reckoning, the kind of battle that defines careers, reshapes legacies, and echoes through Rees.